Do you want to know how to write a resume targeted at the role you want and not the role you have in 6 simple steps? If so, keep watching. Hey job seekers, it's Jessica Kimber here, recruiter and career coach, and I've helped thousands of people worldwide secure their dream job, and I'm here to teach you how to do the same. By the end of this video, you will know my 6 steps to crafting the perfect resume targeted at the role that you want, even if you lack experience. What's better is that this advice also helps you create a resume which outsmarts recruitment systems and gets into the hands of a recruiter faster than all of the other applicants out there. I've also done most of the hard work for you, so if you stay until the end of this video, I will be giving you my free resume template so that you can easily adapt as per your own experience, making your life nice and simple. Are you ready to get into it? Let's go. Before we get into my 6 critical steps, it is super important to give you some context around why writing a resume with intention is so important. The number one frustration I hear from job seekers is that they're sick of us spending hours at a time applying for roles online and never hearing back. But did you know only around 15% of applications are ever opened by recruiters? This is because recruiters use their ATSs, which stands for Applicant Tracking Systems, to search for resumes in the same way you search Google. They search for keywords which closely align to the skills their client has asked for and are presented with results in order of relevance. ATSs automatically rank your resume in comparison to all of the other applicants, and the ones with the most keywords and phrases which match the company's job description will always be shown first. A recruiter will then click through each resume from the top of the list and call the most suitable first. Their search functions are so good that they tend to find what they're looking for in the first 10 to 15 resumes without the need to click through hundreds of others. If you are someone who doesn't tend to hear back from your applications, it is because your resume is not targeted or it is not ATS friendly. Now I know what you are thinking. Well, how on earth do I ever get a role if I have no experience then? This is where it's time to get creative and write your resume with intention, and this is exactly what you will learn today. Miss one of these steps and this formula may not work, so be sure to watch this entire video until the end. If your resume needs some work and you're ready to get started, give me a thumbs up and hit the like button. Okay, so let's get into my 6 critical steps. These are: number 1 is your personal details. Number 2 is your resume summary. Number 3 is core competencies. Number 4 is work history. Number 5 is education. And number 6 is any additional information. Every resume should include all of this information in this exact order. The reason is based on psychology and may surprise you. Systems aside, when a recruiter opens your resume, their eyes are drawn to the first half of the first page only. They determine almost instantly whether or not to scroll down and read your work history and education. If you do not draw them in by having a killer summary and core competency section within the space up the top, then you will unlikely be deemed as the most suitable match and therefore less likely to be shortlisted and phone screened. Let's refine how you can take action by following my 6 critical steps. Make sure you have a pen and paper to hand, as you may want to take notes here. Step 1 is personal details. Your personal details should be at the top of the document and include your full name, home address, phone number, and email address. Many people leave out their home address, but this is in fact very important to list because recruiters often use a filter on their ATS to whittle down on applicants within a certain distance from their client's office. If you do not include a location, you will not appear in any searches, as you could literally be anywhere in the world and the system cannot filter what it doesn't know. Step 2 is your resume summary. Your resume summary is the most important part of the document. Your summary needs to always highlight the transferable skills you have which makes you a suitable fit for the role that you want next. This is absolutely essential for 2 reasons. Firstly, so that you get onto the first page of ATS search results, and secondly, so that when your resume is opened, the recruiter instantly deems you as suitable. If you don't have exact experience or hard skills, highlight your transferable soft skills which are required to fulfill the role. You need to write around 2 to 4 sentences and include as many searchable keywords as you possibly can. A little cheat is to look at the job description of the role you want to secure and see what key skills are required. You can incorporate these words into your summary. The trick is to make it as obvious to the reader as humanly possible why you have applied and why they should call you. You need to see yourself as the solution to their problem. If their problem is finding someone with a certain skill set, your goal is always to show that you can solve their problem and make them want to call you over the hundreds of other applicants. An easy example of this to give you some context is this. Let's say your resume summary is targeted to a previous job you had in a retail store and it says, I am an experienced store manager with over 10 years experience working for multiple luxury clothing brands. I am looking to build upon my current experience in a new and challenging position. This is obviously a very basic summary, but the point is to make you see that if you want to continue working in a luxury clothing store and you had a summary like this, you will likely appear high up in the ATS if Gucci was hiring, for example. If you're applying for any other role, it wouldn't make sense to have this as the first thing a recruiter sees. Let's say, for an example, you're interested in applying for a call center role. Can you see how this summary adds no value and it doesn't solve the problem of the company who is looking for somebody who's interested in call center work? Okay, you might still receive a call to be phone screened, but your goal here should be to guarantee that you receive a call, not just hope that you do. So what should you write in this instance? Let's say you have the same experience as a store manager, but this time you list all of your transferable skills from retail that make you a suitable candidate for a call center position. You could write a summary along the lines of, I'm a customer service professional with strong communication skills and a solid track record exceeding KPIs. I thrive in highly pressured environments and I enjoy resolving customer queries and complaints. I am looking to develop my skills and build a career within a fast-paced call center environment. If you wrote this, a recruiter would open your resume and instantly think, perfect, this is the exact person that my client is looking for. This person has the key transferable skills already and their goal is to secure a role in a call center. They love fast-paced and KPI-driven environments, and this is exactly what the call center can offer them as well. Can you see how the experience as a store manager is the same in both examples, but the transferable skills have been articulated very differently? This is exactly how you get creative and write a killer summary which is targeted at the role that you want next. If you are struggling to prepare for this step in knowing what keywords to put, simply check out job descriptions of the roles that you're interested in and look at what the companies are asking for. These are your transferable skills. Step number 3 is core competencies. I love this one because this section is listed directly under your summary and further describes all of your skills, experience, and capabilities. There are 2 main reasons this section is so important. Number 1, because this is an opportunity to add as many keywords as possible so that recruitment systems rank you highly and deem you as suitable so that your resume is opened in the first place. And number 2, because this is your opportunity to make it so blatantly obvious to the reader why you're a suitable match to the role that they are recruiting for. They will instantly know by scanning their eyes over this list within around 1 to 3 seconds that you are capable of fulfilling the role you have applied for. To detail your core competencies, I would brainstorm all of your hard skills, soft skills, capabilities, technical experience, knowledge, systems experience, and literally anything you could possibly think of. I would then have a think about which skills out of this master list will support you in getting the role that you want next. Which of them add value to the direction you want to take your career in? Read the job descriptions online if you need to and see what skills different companies ask for. These skills are the ones you list down in either bullet point format or a list, dependent on how many that there are. Remember to always be truthful. Yes, the goal is to align yourself to their role, but you do need to do this in a truthful manner as you will be tested at interview on these different skills and traits. Before we get into steps 4 to 6, let me know in the comments what you find most challenging when it comes to writing a resume. Don't forget, at the end of this video, I will also be giving you my free resume template, including instructions so that you can easily follow it through and eliminate all of your problems when it comes to writing a resume. Step number 4 is work history. When writing your work history, I would suggest listing every role in order, most recent being at the top. In saying that, your resume should never be longer than 2 pages. So if you have had very short-term roles, consider leaving them out unless that experience is valuable and supports your application. List the company name, your job title, and your dates of employment, including month and year, and put these in bold. Then, for ease of reading, I would list 5 to 10 bullet points of the key tasks and duties for each role, ensuring you incorporate as many keywords as possible. Use your master list you created when writing your core competencies to list any here which support your next application. If you were in a role for a shorter period, you should list maximum 5 bullet points. If you were in a role for a few years, list around 8 bullet points. If you've been in a role for, let's say, 5+ years, I would say to list around 10 bullet points. Keep in mind that this is only an estimate and you may need to include more or less information depending on how complex your roles were. The ultimate goal is to be clear and concise and prove your main experience to the reader, which is transferable into the role that you have applied for. Your work experience also needs to be written with intention, like everything else on the resume. This is super important. Don't list 8 bullet points of just random duties that do not support your next application. I would also consider and highly recommend writing each bullet point in order of importance. The tasks which you previously did which are beneficial to the role you want next should always be closest to the top. Any other task should be listed in bullet points closer to the bottom. Again, there is psychology to this, as a recruiter's eyes will be drawn to the first few bullet points before the last few. You always want to maximize your chances of hearing back, and this is just a small little trick and a way that you can do that. That brings us to step number 5, which is your education. Dependent on where you're at within your career, you may or may not go into detail about your education. If you are a graduate and using your degree to get hired, then absolutely include as much information as possible about your studies. You could include information on different subjects or even work placements, remembering those keywords which relate to the role that you're applying for so that the recruiter will deem your knowledge from your studies as a suitable match to their role. If your work experience trumps your education, or if it's not relevant to the roles that you're interested in, or if you studied a very long time ago, I would suggest drawing very little attention to this area by keeping the information minimal. Use the space on your resume to lengthen your summary, core competency section, or your work history section, detailing more relevant skills which support your application. Step 6 is additional information. This step is not critical. Some roles may require some additional information, such as a driving role may require a full clean driver's license, or a role in a childcare centre may require a working with children check. If you hold something valuable that supports your job application, be sure to list it here. You can also list your visa status if applicable, or your availability if your hours are restricted. If there's anything important that you think a recruiter should know, this is where you list it. If nothing springs to mind, again, leave this section and use the above space to detail skills which support your application. Remember, your resume should never be longer than 2 pages. It is not read like a book. It is read at a glance, and a recruiter spends an average of just 6 to 10 seconds scanning their eyes over. Keep it clear, concise, and as obvious as possible to increase the number of calls you receive from recruiters. If these tips helped you, please give me a thumbs up so that I can keep making more videos like this. That rounds up my top 6 tips to crafting the perfect resume even if you lack experience. I know I mentioned at the beginning I would give you my resume template completely free. To download, go to jessicakimber.com/resume template or click the link in the description to download instantly and adapt as per your own experience. This template also includes full instructions at every single step so that you can adapt and delete as required, making your life nice and simple. Don't forget also to hit like, subscribe, and turn the bell on to be notified of my next video so that you can become the most employable candidate in the market and beat all of the other job seekers who are fighting for your dream job.